Hello, 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 everyone. Let me make sure I have sound. I do. There I am. All right. We've got sound, ladies and gentlemen. Very good. Whew. Coming in a little hot today. After a full week of being sick and dealing with that, and you can still hear it in my voice. I'm still working on it. It's been really an interesting time. So I don't even have a piece of paper to write the timestamps. Well, maybe I do. Hang on here. Some days are just like this, and we're going to roll with it. Little sip of tea. Hello, hello. For anyone joining, feel free to drop a note, say hello. Thank you, Karen. Hello, hello. I'm kind of dropping in hot today. It was one of those days, I know you can empathize, where we've had I homeschool my kids, but my partner's kids go to public school. School's been closed all week until today, but one of his kids is sick. The dog, everything's just happening. Everything's happening. Hi, Anna. Good to see you here. Everything's happening, and and it's happening within the 30 minutes that lead up to me sitting down and getting ready for the live. So it's like, okay, I need things to just go still for a moment here so I can breathe and get into the energy. So, okay, I see some other people hopping on. Please say hello. Welcome, welcome to the Frequency Friday live today. We're going to get into some different things. So, I want to first welcome any new subscribers that might be joining in on the live or the replay. I'm so happy to have you on Creators on the Crest and joining us. I put up a lot of free tarot readings, general readings, and I've got some other things in the works. Going to be doing some new types of videos, and it's been a really interesting time to get everything planned. You'll have to just work through if you hear a little bit of tension in my voice. I've been ill for the previous week. I had lost my voice entirely, missed a whole day of recording that I was going to do. And it's just one of those things that you learn the lessons of surrender, right? And surrendering into things and letting things be slow and letting things heal, allowing those processes. So I want to thank everybody because everybody's been checking on me and making sure I'm okay. And thank you for your well wishes and everything. It's been amazing, the amount of support, and it feels good when you're not feeling good and you're feeling like you're not getting to things or getting things done. It can really feel good to have people just say, hey, hope you're doing okay. So I wish the same for you all. I know a lot of different things have been circulating around. So for me, it's been all the throat. And I really feel like this is an opportunity when we have these illnesses where we lose our voice. It's an opportunity to get really still. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I have a rune that I want to discuss here, but to get really still and be with yourself through that process, knowing that you'll be able to come back from it and knowing that you'll be able to speak out all the more clearly, all the more assertively, whatever it is you've been working on. So there's been a lot of internal processing and emotional processing as well in this illness. And I think illness, whether it's just the common cold to flu to, all the stuff, whatever it is, there are so many lessons and gifts in that. And it's very hard when you're going through the process, especially if it's a longer term kind of thing. But it also can reveal many things to ourselves about ourselves. So, really being present with yourself no matter what, being present with your healing process, being present with the stillness is so very important. So, yes, yes. And sometimes you need a break. And if you don't take the break, right, Karen, the universe kind of helps you take the break, kind of nudges you into the break. And yeah, I've been cranking out a lot of content. You're correct. It does take a lot of energy to do this. Takes a lot of time and focus, and I think any YouTuber will tell you that, or anyone putting out podcasts and content. It's a wheel, a cycle, and it can easily be a hamster wheel if you're not careful. So, and then if you're working in the line of work that I do and the energy, you have the whole added dynamic of you're feeling into the energies. And sometimes the energies will just, they're so dynamic that you can get kind of sidelined and wiped out sometimes from it if you're not careful and you don't have the right protections. And we all slip up from time to time. So when AI was when I think it says when AI was a massage therapist, please, y'all, is AI a massage therapist? When you, not AI, was a massage therapist. I used to say, don't wait till it breaks. Yes, good advice there from Karen, not AI. Okay, so although that's probably, I'm sure if I put in what's the best self-care routine, AI could give me a lot of ideas, right, for that. So it's just funny. It's just funny it came out like that. Um, I appreciate you guys commenting. When you comment, it sends it out to more people. Make sure you put a like on the video as well, thumbs up. Also, next to the chat bar, there's the little emoji things that you can press, the little heart, party, smiley 100s. You can do those, and those will like flow through they will flow through everything here. Let me see. Yeah, I think they're working. There we go. Yep. I can see them popping up now. So those kinds of things just help get it going. It also signals to me when you're enjoying the line of energy that I'm following. You're like resonating. You can use that as like, okay, more of this, I need more in that direction, and that will help me understand that you want to go there. So okay, just some housekeeping. You can absolutely chat and enjoy in the live chat all throughout as much as you want to. If you're in a place where you just need to sit back and listen, I completely understand that too. The replay will be up. I know some people are working, they have busy lives, things going on. You may be able to join and you have to, come back later, or you can't stay the whole time. I usually go about 2 hours, so that's quite a stint of going through the energies. So, that's why I put timestamps on. So the replay will have all the timestamps, and you can go back if there was something that you were listening to during the live and you're like, that's really important. You can go back to it for that as well. So this is all about reading the energies, talking about the energies, getting into the highest and best collective messages. We have some really interesting breakout readings that I'll be doing today, collective readings with some different categories. I have different themes that pop up each week. So we're going to do another new set of themes this week. And, this is going to really, it's going to get exciting. Go with what resonates for you. Trust your intuition. If you do enjoy the content, I'm not yet monetized on YouTube. We're working on getting those watch hours, but I do have links at the top of the live chat for Venmo and PayPal for my business. And if you'd like to make a donation, just put donation in the description, and anything is so much appreciated to help me continue to grow and build, because it takes resources, doesn't it, to get this out there and be able to gift this to you. So I really appreciate any of that. Okay, we're going to take a deep breath, get a timestamp here. And we're going to do collective messages first. And I wanted to mention the rune that I had brought up earlier. It's Isa. I think I even may have talked about this last week, because in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in the middle of winter. And not only in the middle of winter, but pretty cold. It's been pretty cold and sub-zero. And Isa is the Elder Futhark rune that helps us understand the value of stillness. And so I wanted to touch on Isa. It's connected to ice. So as the Norse would use these runes in their language, this one represented ice. Now, that could be represented as a warning, like there's, icy, the icy creek, the creek has iced over ahead, but it also can represent those times of standstill or stillness, or one of the words that I really like, and I did not have time to look up the etymology, but I'm going to have to at some point and talk more about it, is stasis. So now I'm a big, I like Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, all these, you know, sci-fi, space dramas. I like that stuff, okay? And so one of one of the things that they have or that they show in some of those shows is that they actually can put the human body into stasis, right? And they have these like stasis chambers, right? And it's, probably possible. And we just don't know it yet. It could be some secret government patent, who knows? But when we talk about it from our own personal human, physical, emotional, psychological standpoint, stasis is, I really like the term because it doesn't necessarily indicate that you're always going to be. It's used for a period of time, right? And so in stasis, we can know that one day the energies of the ice, the really frozen ice, is going to thaw. It's going to thaw out, right? And that's what we're having to trust right now. Those of us who are dealing with these really cold temperatures, and then it'll get warm and warm up, and we're just hoping the cold cycle doesn't come again. But how can we find value in those times where we're not out driving? We can't go out. We're having to order our groceries and have them delivered because we're not supposed to be on the roads, it's not safe, those kinds of things. How can we get comfortable and figure out what we can do in these moments of stasis and when things are just at that standstill? Isa is also about a very slow expansion. So if you imagine ice, ice, even though it appears frozen and solid to us, is still vibrating. It still has a vibration. It still has movement. It still has those kinds of little micro movements happening within it. So it expands, it contracts. You'll have to pardon me. Every once in a while that happens. So let me get a sip of tea. So just like the ice, we too might feel like we're at a standstill or we're frozen or we're solid, but there's still movement. It might be more on the micro level within our cells, within our bodies. And so this is a very unique opportunity for us to go deeper within ourselves. Now, at times this can feel on the surface like you're blocked, you can't move, you can't do anything, you can't make any progress, nothing's happening, those are the kind of maybe lower thought forms that like to creep in, and we're human, we're going to go through that. Oh, I can't get this done. Oh, I had all this planned. Okay, like I had all kinds of plans before I got sick, trust me. There's a whole slew of things on the calendar, right? And all that comes to a halt, and you have to surrender into this energy, and you have to take this time, right? Well, you don't have to, but if you push it, you're just going to make it worse. You're going to push against what is naturally flowing and occurring for you. But if you can come into the stillness, if you can be okay with things not feeling active in the way that you have in your mind that you want them to feel, like I can go out walking my dog and we're not freezing, or whatever it might be, just getting out, doing things, getting things done, right? And if you can surrender into that energy, it really can assist you in uncovering more of the subtle vibratory energies within yourself. So, our greater being, which some people I will say synonymously use like higher self. I like the term greater being because I'm really talking about a multidimensional connection of ourself to the universe. I'm not talking about some hierarchical 3D, 4D, 5D. I'm not talking about that. That's included in the term that I use as greater being. It's really the multidimensionality of us as humans here. Okay. And so when we get into the subtle energies and we start to make those connections internally inside ourselves. Hello, Jasmine. Hello, Jason. Welcome, welcome. When we start to make those changes inside ourselves, right, in the subtle levels, it can actually have really big repercussions when the ice thaws for us in a good way. Really big results can come out of that. So it's important to really pay attention to these subtle bodies and these subtle energies that we might have. Now, I do want to pull some additional cards for this collective message. So this is our general message today, and then we'll be doing some breakout messages here. But let's see, in this whole theme of going into ourselves and working with the subtle energies, those little vibratory energies that the ice might have, every water molecule, still vibrating, every hydrogen, oxygen atom still vibrating, the little parts within, the electrons, protons, neutrons, right? We're really getting into the microcosm. What else do we need to know? This is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. It's a beautiful deck. But what else do we need to know about this time of stillness? I'm going to get one more. We're getting 3 cards. I'm surprised. This deck is really talkative here. So we must have, some of you must be shaman. Some of you are shaman out there. Okay. I love this. So first off, we get this number 20 card, and it's the Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. Okay. Now, Feast of Plenty, I think about the Horn of Plenty. We were just talking about that. Jason and I were just talking about cornucopias and horns of plenty the other day. It's funny. That's what I'm thinking of. This feels like Thanksgiving kind of energy. We have some indication here of the sword in the stone. And there's 2 swords. What's really interesting is one has this little bee in front of it, which bees represent activity, productivity. And over here we have the crystals, which are more still, right? So this is a time for us to get into the subtle energies within ourselves and reflect on our choices and consequences. How did certain actions we took in life lead us down certain paths? Have any of you ever thought about that here you are, you're a multidimensional, you're greater being. Have you ever thought about all the versions of you that could exist in a multiverse, right? And how each of those different versions of you could have stepped a different way in that parallel universe or that dynamic. It's kind of fascinating when you really go into these energies and just sit with them, see what it feels like to you. What does your body indicate and tell you about it? What is your DNA speaking to you about? Because I certainly believe that we are connected to all aspects of ourselves if we choose to be. We can get disconnected at times, we can get fragmented at times, but we can also really be in this deep connection, deeper than even our reality, our physical reality. We're talking about the realms of energy and the soul and how we're connected with the universe. So it's just fascinating to think about that and have those ideas. And maybe even in our meditative state or in those times of stillness, seeing how we might connect in with that. Do we get visions of ourselves, right? And so we can begin to maybe have a little fun looking through and analyzing what paths could have been taken, or maybe a different version of ourselves somewhere else, or outside of time and space, right? We have to kind of lift up out of the confines of our existence here. We have to lift up out of that and see what we might see within ourselves, right? But it's all in us because we're a fractal of the universe. That's not a fraction of, that's everything. Everything in the universe expressed through this unique expression that is you, right? And this is what I think this card could really help us in contemplating and seeing. We don't have to pull the swords out right now. We can leave them in the stone. In fact, they look like they're pretty well lodged in there, and that there's some lessons and some very, maybe even just interesting awarenesses. It doesn't even have to be like a lesson, like you think, oh, that's a hard lesson to learn or something. No, this can just be you learning more about how expansive you truly are. So, yes, so Karen says I refer to myself as a mystic, maybe similar to a shaman. Yes, absolutely. Anna has thought of this. Yeah. Those of you that carry the Scorpio energies, you probably go here within yourself already very naturally. You kind of flow into these depths and you allow. It can be a little like, and I'm not saying you have to be a Scorpio to do this, but the Scorpio energies, if you have those in your chart, they certainly will help you with the depth. Okay, they will help you go deep into the mysteries of life and of yourself. But here we have a chance to really look at that and play with that. And maybe there'll be some emotions that arise. Maybe we'll feel a certain way in our body when we check in with these energies. Maybe it's more mystical for us, but if we can go in and not be stuck on any certain way it should be. This could be a really interesting exercise if you can find those moments of stillness and stasis and quiet to get into these energies and reflect. So I'm getting a big sense of reflection on that card. Now, the next card that comes up, and this one would make sense. We have to deal with time. The number 23, Fortune's Wheel, luck and the right timing. So here we are, we're working with the energy of Isa. We're in stasis. We're having this internal time. At some points in time, we might feel a little stuck, but the wheel is always turning. The Norns, in the Norse tradition, the Norns are always weaving. The cycles of fate are always turning, right? There's always movement there. Even if the wheel comes to a stop, right? If we're picturing, like, let's just picture a physical, like weaving wheel, all right? And it comes to a stop, even in the wood that makes up the wheel, there's still vibrational energy. Everything is always in some sort of vibration, some sort of motion. But this is a really good feeling because you can see the sun is beginning to shine, or a bright golden light is beginning to emerge from behind the wheel. This would be the energy and the trust that the wheel is still moving. There's still energy vibrating here, and that there is an element of, when the time is right, I will come out of this stasis. And I can trust that time. Now, this is a number 23 card. 2 plus 3 is 5. And 5 is a number of tension. So it can feel a little tense. It can feel like we're pulled into these edges and maybe into some sharp directions in this time of stasis where we almost feel like maybe we're in a corner and we're stuck. But if we can go within ourselves and really begin to see our experience, this experience in stasis, as circular, as spiral, then we can maybe have a little bit better experience with the energy and make it not so tense for us, because we're trusting that things are going to open up and unfold for us, even in the times where we're pulled into these areas of tension and stillness within ourselves. So I love that. I love that card because I feel like it's very assuring that, yes, things are going to warm up. Yes, that wheel will really be kicking. It's just about the right timing. And this is part of the cycles. And how would we appreciate the times when the wheel is really spinning, and that activity and that productivity that we feel, if we didn't experience the opposite, stillness, the frozen times, the stasis, right? So we have this beautiful contrasting expression in our universe and how our existence operates. And so going into some of those deeper mysteries within is really beneficial. Now, I really like this too, because this is going to kind of flow into what our breakout sessions are going to be today. We've got what's called Me-Tox, M-E-T-O-X, repairing the mind, body, and spirit. Me-Tox, number 39. So one of the things that I've been personally dealing with as I go through getting better from this virus or whatever it is, I also started taking a certain supplement that starts to get in and clear out at the cellular level. So I'm definitely having my own detox experience. And so some of the symptoms that I'm having alongside whatever the virus is causing are detox symptoms. And that can be like fatigue or just feeling nauseous at times, headaches, things like that. Now, some of you will have experienced this. You're not even intentionally trying to detox. And this has happened to me as well. There's times I'm not really trying, but it just starts happening. My body starts releasing things. If I release something emotionally, then my body's like, "Oh, okay, that was stuck in here, and now we're gonna let that go," right? So we sometimes have these detox times or these detox times as unintended, right? And they just kind of come up because for those with a sensitive nature, you're processing so much information, you're processing so much energy that it just has nowhere else to go. So sometimes your body will naturally, it's very wise, your body is very wise, and it will naturally kick in these detox cycles for you. And so in the picture here, we have it's kind of abstract, but it's like an indigenous person taking a bath and observing something in some sort of like cosmic bubble that's coming out of what looks like smoke or dry ice, and there's visions happening in the bubble. This is really a beautiful depiction of what I was describing earlier of being within yourself and going down to that micro cellular level within and just seeing, what's there. You don't even have to do anything. You can just be curious about it. Just having the curiosity and just let your body show you what it needs to show you, right? This can be very helpful physically as you get to know your body better. A lot of people are walking around out there, and most of you will know who I'm talking about. Like it's just like they're just zombied out. They're zombied out, and that's the communication from them to their emotions, their body. What's going on is cut off, right? Or it's frozen, or it's blocked, or it's whatever, depending on their life circumstances and what actions they've taken, what choices they've had. So, also for people who have maybe been into alcohol, drugs, or having a poor diet in the past, there may be more reflection that has to take place of choices and consequences. We certainly know the cards are not stacked very helpfully, especially here in the States, right? Most of what is out there is not contributing to our well-being, but it actually ends up harming us. Yet it's what's on all the shelves in the grocery stores, right? So we have to begin to get in that micro level, understand that, listen to our bodies, and then find it in ourselves to take the actions and find it in ourselves to take the accountability for what goes in, right? So that feels like a message for some people about really being mindful of what goes in. And I know it's hard, and I'm one of those people. I've gone through life. I've fluctuated with my weight. I've fluctuated with my relationship with food. I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've had a really hard time finding that and steady balance. And so it becomes a commitment, and it can be tough. But in these times of stillness, it's a really good time to tune in, to see what's working, to see what's not, to feel into that, and then put a plan together, right? In the times of stillness, we know we can't really go take action. Like right now, it's winter time. There's a lot of healthy foods or things I might need that are out of season, right? I may have to put my plan into place now and just do the best I can, right? With the ingredients that I have or with what I'm able to do. Maybe some of us need to start a have our little indoor garden. That's something Jason and I like to do. We have a grow tent and we have tomatoes in there right now, and they've been going for quite a few months and they're still going. And so we're able to control the conditions in that tent. It's nice to have something in there, and we're just kind of experimenting, right? But I don't think we bought tomatoes in a while. And when I say when you're growing them, like I prefer to grow them outside. Yes, there's something about the natural sunlight, right? That's the best. But when you grow things yourself and you're giving them attention and you see the life cycle, all that energy is feeding into that. So some of you may like to do that as well, or it may be something you already do. Some of you may be planting your garden. I know here in where I live, it's March. March is the planting time, and that's right around the corner, the end of March. So it's a good time to plan a garden. So lots of things we can do in this period of stillness with Isa. Okay, let's talk about the breakout sessions today, or breakout readings. We're going to work on some different levels today. And what came to me was that we should work on the physical. So you may resonate and say, yes, I've been working on my physical body. I've been working on my health. I've been trying to get the exercise routine that works for me. I've been working on drinking more water, right? All the physical. I've been working on healing. I've had an injury. Whether it's short term or a long term type of condition, we're going to go into the highest and best messages that your physical body would like you to know. Okay. And so, especially that will be helpful for people who feel a bit disconnected at times from their body or a bit disembodied, where you're having a hard time, maybe everything hurts, right? Everything feels bad. So where do I go with that? How do I begin to pull a thread in that? So we'll get into the physical, and then we're going to get into, of course, emotional, because it's all connected. So we're going to do the physical body, then we're going to do the emotional body. All right. And the emotional body. So the emotions that are the indicators that help us understand and help alert us to what might be going on mentally, right? And we'll get there. But the emotional body is big on indicating to us and processing with us, right? And so that we'll get into the emotional body. So we'll do physical, we'll do emotional, and then, of course, we'll get into the mental body. So for those of you, you're analyzing things, you're using your mind, you're maybe trying to tap into the higher levels of your brain and of the mental space, or perhaps some of you are healing belief systems, outdated energies in the mental space that would have you bogged down. We're going to ask for the highest messages there. And then lastly, it just came to me just now because I was like, how am I going to say this? We're going to do the ethereal body. And that is the energetic body, the energetics of our spirit, of our soul, of our transcendent, that's the word I'm getting, transcendent being. So we've got 4 really great breakout readings to do today. So get ready. If you need to stretch a moment or just, grab a sip of tea like me, I need to get my tea here. Look at little Grogu. Isn't he so cute? Oh my gosh. He reminds me of my dog Blaze. When he's looking at you, he's just looking at you with those cute little eyes. All right, so have your tea, have your things, have your stuff. We're going to get into this. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to do, I know I love Blaze too. I wish he could make an appearance, but he is with the kids in the other room right now. So He gets a little territorial and he makes a lot of noise, especially because he can see out the front in this room. He can see like the mailman and everything, and he gets really wild and crazy. So, okay, so now we're going to get into a reading for the physical body. We're asking for the highest and best messages. I'm going to start off with this in Tarot of Enchanted Dreams. These are huge cards, kind of hard for my little hands to shuffle. So I don't use them very often in my sign readings that I put out there, but they are so beautiful. I love the images. They're really striking decks. So we're going to get the overall energy for those of you who resonated with what are the highest and best messages for my physical body? What I need to know about connecting with my physical body. All right. And I've got a hair bugging me right here. All right. So, and there may be a little element of distraction there because I just got distracted. So there may be something distracting you from your physical body. Your physical body here is saying, hey, what's going on is I need a love. This is the Queen of Cups. This is the woman who must make sure her cup is full, right? This is the feminine energy saying the cup has to be full first for me before I can serve others. This is the master of self-love here, right? And being able to care. And in this case, care for the body, love the body, nurture the body. Have any of you ever, because this is coming up, so you're feeling discomfort in your body, you may even know where it is. Have you ever just talked to your body and said, I love you and I'm with you and I'm going to stay with you and we're going to figure this out? To just give yourself permission to speak with your body. Let your body hear you. How does it make you feel? I'm feeling, as I even just said that, I am having emotional energies arise. And those will indicate to me what I need to work on. At times, I can really feel that there may be some discomfort or disease in a certain organ of my body. Let's use the spleen as an example. And just tuning into that area on my body, maybe touching it gently, acknowledging it, letting it know, I love you, spleen. And I love the way you function and everything you do for me and everything that comes about. What that creates blood cells right there. So all the blood cells you create for me, right? Maybe it's time to, as you feel into your physical body, maybe learn a little bit more about that part of the body. So maybe you do go into a little bit of the physiology and the biology of it for yourself. I just use that as an example, right? This could be anything for you. Could be your throat. Could have a headache. Could be your gut. The gut is like another mind in and of itself. So you may be speaking with different areas of your body and just not rushing it to figure out what's going on or to tell you what's wrong, but just giving it some love. And maybe asking it, how can I make sure that your cup is full? What foods or what rest or what is needed to make sure your cup is full? That part of your body. Your cells are alive. Cells respond, right? There's been lots of scientific evidence that show the response of cells, the response of water to certain vibrations, right? We're made up of water, mostly. So having that conversation and giving it a whole lot of love. Now, you'll look at this Queen of Cups and you'll be like, damn, she's looking a little serious. Yes, she is. She is serious here, okay? She is staring you down and saying, like, listen here, your body wants some love, okay? So we're going to take this seriously. We're not moving. She gives me a little bit of a, dark ice queen kind of feel. We're not moving until you give your body this love, until you fill your own cup. And look at the other symbolism going on in here. We have a lotus flower opening. Grace, giving ourselves grace. Our physical body may not be in the condition we want it to be right now. It may not be at its ideal functioning. Is it gonna feel good to beat it up for that and, get frustrated and get angry and hold those emotions and then have that swirling in your body? No. We gotta have grace in this process, okay? So, whenever we're having trouble giving ourselves grace or we're feeling the pressure, because this is serious, but we can be serious about it, but we don't have to abuse ourselves or pressure ourselves here. And the lotus would indicate we're gonna love ourselves. The Queen of Cups says we're gonna love and nurture ourselves through this. We're gonna give ourselves grace. We're gonna let this be a process. I'm also really struck how we have a full moon and we can see dragonflies in the top of the card here flying around above her crown. There is some higher wisdom waiting for those of you that are resonating with this. Hello, Jen. Welcome, welcome. We are on a reading for the physical body right now. And the Queen of Cups here is saying, look at these dragonflies up here. There's things in the subconscious realm that need attention. There's 5 dragonflies that I see in this card as well. Remember I said in the collective reading, 5 is the number of tension. So some of you, the physical body, some of the tension with the physical body lies in the subconscious realm. Pay attention to your dreams with this. Pay attention to how you feel, how your body feels when you wake up. Pay attention to where the tightness or the heaviness is. Let the subconscious begin to indicate to you what needs to happen here. But we're going to offer love and nurturing to our bodies, our different body parts, our genetics. And for some of you, has anyone, drop it in the comments if you have looked into epigenetics before. Has anyone? That's fascinating. Another thing I love looking into. And it's the idea that we begin to connect with the future vision of ourselves as we see ourselves. So if I'm here, Stephanie, at 150 pounds and I want to get to 125 pounds, I begin connecting in with the version of Stephanie that's 125 pounds. What does her life look like? What does she do each day? What is her exercise routine? What is she eating? How much water is she drinking? Right? And we're starting to see, and we're going to bridge that, and we're going to bring ourselves into that. So epigenetics is coming up for some of you as well. Coming up pretty strong. So that might be something you want to look into. There's meditations online for it as well. So check it out. Okay. What other messages? We're going to use the cute Kawaii Tarot because I knew these messages would feel a little bit more serious today. So I brought in this deck. It said, let me do it. It's cute. It's fun. Let's get some messages in the most uplifting way we can for what our physical body would like us to know. Oh my goodness. Lots of emotional connections are showing up here. Lots of emotional connections for the physical body. Whew. I need a Kleenex. Sorry, I won't be editing out this live. You're going to have to listen to me blow my nose every once in a while. Not ideal, but it happens. We're human. My body's talking, right? My nose said, I need to blow. Let's do it. One more sip of tea, and we'll look at these cards. All right. So remember, the Queen of Cups is our overall energy, but we got the Ace of Cups. Again, this is a minor arcana reminder. So we have a court card with the Queen of Cups, right? We have her mastery and knowing that self-care is the solution here. And we actually see the pitcher pouring into the cup here. And the little otter is giving the little sugar cubes to the little seal in there. So doing something sweet for ourselves, sweet for our body. Okay, I'm not saying go eat sugar, especially if you're dealing with that kind of an imbalance in your body. But you could with some natural fruit syrup, right? Or fructose, right? That's the natural sugar in fruit. So some of you might need to sweeten with a little bit of fruit. I also know like making, may not be in season right now, but watermelon juice with the rind, juicing it with the rind can be really cleansing for the body. So you have to do what's right for you. You have to know your numbers, consult your professionals. I'm not a doctor or nutritionist here, but doing something sweet for your body. It could even be gentle stretching. But how are you going to fill this cup? And it's connected to transformation here with the butterflies being the one. Look how gentle that is. The butterflies, the strength of transformation is filling the cup here. Butterflies are transformative. How do those delicate little butterflies hold that heavy pitcher to pour in, right? It's grace. It's the power of transformation. But we're going to fill the cup. And I know the cup here in this picture looks like it's almost overflowing. Keep pouring. You want your cup to overflow. In fact, in the traditional tarot, the Ace of Cups is overflowing because it's from the overflow that you can give to others, or you can give to your vision, or you can give to your purpose. So you need an overflow. So we're going to keep pouring. And that's the message I get. Keep pouring into yourself. It's part of your transformation. It's part of the subconscious. It's going to help cleanse out some of those subconscious energies. And all of this, what's interesting is all of this in this picture appears to be taking place in the sky. So we're having kind of this heightened experience with caring for ourselves. Now we can keep this very simple. So if you're like, oh, I've tried to do this, start simple, make a small step, a baby step. It could be like, okay, usually I drink this much water. I'm going to drink 1.5 of these today, or I'm going to take a bath, a salt bath, or I'm going to give myself a little foot massage. Really simple things. You can blend them into when you wake up or when you're going to bed, and just being really mindful and loving. And you can combine having the conversation and talking to your body while you're doing some act of self-care, right? So we don't have to set aside a whole day. Some of you might like to do that though. Some of you might want to set a whole day just to date your body, date yourself, and get really, really comfortable with, hey, what's going on inside of me here? And let me talk to my body. Let me have a day to nurture my body. If you can afford to do that, that might be good for some of you. Others of you, it could be making a spa appointment or something like that. But it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to feel super fancy. Give yourself, at minimum, a baby step of what you can do for that, and keep pouring. We have the Four of Swords. This is where maybe the connection into, we're kind of bridging the physical, emotional, mental now with the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is a rest card. It's a healing card. It is a card of going within so that we can open up all the brighter in the future, right? There is some sort of internal communication. We have the mushrooms here at the bottom, and they communicate under the ground deep with the roots. They communicate with the plant kingdom. They communicate with the saprophytes, all the things in the forest. There's a communication going on underneath the surface. Maybe that's representing your communication of going deeper into communication with your body. Okay. Hi, Tressa. Tressa says you feel like this reading is for you. Yeah, it is. Those of you that have tuned in, these messages are going to be more likely to resonate with you because your energy showed up here, right? So I'm going to capture the energies that are here more so than I might somebody who's, not even listening to this type of channel, right? I'm really trying to get into the energies of your greater being. So yes, healing, nurturing, rest. These messages are all very connected here. This would also indicate good sleep. So if any of you have been having trouble sleeping, I know for some of us it's hormonal thing, right? We're trying to sleep, we want to sleep, we desperately want to sleep, but we have these little guys up here playing and having a little sword fight in our minds while we're trying to sleep, right? We can't get our brain to turn off. There's always activity going on, and we're having trouble with that, right? but we need to sleep. Some of you may have young kids or resonate with how it felt to have a young baby or a child and have that energy constantly being needed. So some of you new moms or moms with young kids, this is a card saying, hey, you've got to take that time for yourself. We know you got the little ones, but your own body is recovering. Some of you may be postpartum. And, when you have the baby, it's kind of like everybody just forgets that, you get all this attention, you get all this pampering when you're pregnant. When you have the baby, then all the focus is on the baby. But the mother's body, she's providing nourishment for the baby. She's healing. Her womb is healing. There is a lot still happening. So the process of birthing a child is not over when the child is born. There's still so many more phases to go through that the body goes through. So for some of you, this could resonate, or there could be memories of this and coming up, and maybe for some healing, right? Maybe maybe you're used to, you had kids close together and you had little ones, constantly playing, or like, I know if you have two close to the same age boys, sometimes they can fight and drive you nuts, and you're like, oh my gosh, will they ever get along? They're keeping me awake. How do I do this? How do I balance that? And it's just about finding the way to do so, and letting it be okay that, yes, you're the mother, yes, you're the father, yes, you're the leader, but you also need time for yourself, and you need people who are going to support that in your life and honor that. Now we have the Ten of Swords here. And I'm getting kind of a different message here. This message to me feels like one of defeat. All right. This feels like some of the heavier energies for some of you, that some of you might be feeling in your physical body. Everything pictured here is like sweets on a tray, right? We've got little cream puffs and cupcakes, all in they all look like little creatures, right? Here, the cute little creatures in the deck, but everything is a sweet. You may really be struggling with, oh, but I feel like such a failure, or I gained weight again, or, I can't make progress with my healing. Like, I'm trying to heal this. I've been trying to heal this for years. Some of you are dealing with chronic situations, and this is that feeling that can trap us a bit in, it's never going to be better. When is it ever going to be better? Why can't I catch a break, right? The Ten of Swords, this is a storm cloud situation here, right? This is kind of that feeling. So I want to acknowledge this. I know people don't like to get the cards. They're like, shovel again. I don't want to hear it. I know, But let's acknowledge that maybe we have felt, or we do feel like we've hit a rock bottom in our bodies with something. Okay, let's acknowledge that. And let's love ourselves through it. Let's stay with ourselves. Let's continue to do our best to fill our cup, even if we feel drained or feel like, oh, I should have made more progress, and all those judgmental thoughts are flowing through the head, or those feelings of defeat are arising here. So we're going to acknowledge that. And we're going to give ourselves a little grace, and we're going to remember, hey, this is I'm human. This is a part of my experience for a reason. And even if I don't know what that reason is, or I haven't been able to make sense of it in my mind, I'm going to trust that the universe is informing me, and that big things are happening on many levels for me through this experience. Now, since this is a heavier energy, I want to get a few clarifiers for it. We're just going to use the Radiant Rider Waite. So clarifying this Ten of Swords for our physical body group today. Ooh, and I just got that sense of like, ooh, my stomach dropped. Like, ooh, this feels deep, heavy. Okay. So the Ten of Swords that we got is clarified by the Moon card. So this is another acknowledgement that for some of you, if you have dealt with this, or maybe there was a time in your life where you dealt with this, like I'm getting for some of you, it's very interesting. Some of you, it's very present and very real right now in this moment in time, a chronic condition of some kind, Lyme's, MS, these big, things that really do affect a person and can really take them out. And for others of you, this is connected to more of like a younger years, so like childhood leukemia on on one end of the spectrum, all the way to maybe you broke your ankle before you could play in the big soccer tournament and you were laid out and it just like shattered your teenage world at the time, right? Injuries before something big. I know that happened to me when I was my team was going to nationals for cheerleading, and I got taken out because of my elbow, right? The same arm that I fell at Great Wolf Lodge and injured, but it's looking so much better, right? Left side of my body, feminine energies, right? We begin to get curious about this. So it goes deep. Be prepared because there are layers here. And this is an energy that feels like it doesn't go away automatically. Okay? It doesn't go away automatically. We have to keep loving ourselves as we work through these layers of what were the emotions? Where did I feel it in my body? Did I feel it all over? How did it affect my intuition? Was I even listening to my intuition? Right? In the very beginning collective message, we had that card about the choices and their consequences, right? That could be coming up for some of you. Why did I downhill skateboard in San Francisco? You see these like if you go on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere, right? You see these little reels and it's like people like just wiping out and getting hurt and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's awful." But it's like, why did I try to walk down the icy stairs when I knew, you know? Some of you tried to go to work when you shouldn't have tried to go to work because you thought you had to. Choices and consequences, right? There's layers here. That's my point here with this moon. There's layers. It's related to the subconscious energies. The Queen of Cups let us know that. There's tension there to be worked through. So we're going to say, okay, that's what it is. We're going to accept what is and we're going to give it some love anyway. Okay. Now, this energy comes in as well to clarify this. And I really like this because this is a card of gaining clarity, the King of Swords. This is having it can relate to mind over matter when we're talking about the physical body. Okay, so we don't want to discount the power of your mind and the mental strength that you can put into this, okay? We do not want to discount that. There are ways that you can train the mind and to begin to have that conversation with the mind about how to heal the body. This would be also that sense of beginning to visualize because the King of Swords, the swords is about communication and seeing and knowing as much as it is about just mental energies, right? It's those ways that we interact with the world. And so the King of Swords kind of brings us into a sunnier day, more clarity as we work through the layers, more clarity comes to us, interesting insights. So you've taken the time now to be curious. The king says, now you've taken the time to be curious, you've asked questions, and now you're getting some answers here. This is the communication of some answers. Now, these answers may come from a professional, a doctor, or somebody you're working with, or they will come, more importantly, they come out of you, I think, first and foremost. So when I say come from a professional, what I'm talking about is maybe you had blood work or a CT scan and a professional is relaying the information to you. But then there's that deeper knowing, that the knowing that only you know, the knowing of no, something's still off. The tests come back, oh, you're fine, and they water it down and tell you nothing's wrong and you're okay. This is the deeper knowing of like, no, I know. there's still imbalance somewhere in me, and I'm going to work on figuring out what that is for myself. That's deeper inner knowing and coming to a mastery of that. So it's very much a journey to get here. I do see a progression, the Four of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the King of Swords coming in here. There is the mind over matter elements as well that I want to acknowledge. And we're going to close out this reading with, I've been really enjoying pulling up the masculine and the feminine energies that are present in these readings so we can get a little bit better picture. So we're going to close out with the couple cards from the Journey to the Divine Masculine to see how the masculine energies are operating here. And then we'll get to for the feminine as well. Okay, so 2 from the masculine. Oh, I love this. And 2 from the feminine. Oh, it's my pleasure, Anna, to share these messages. I love doing this, and I think it's so important to get into these themes. For the Frequency Fridays, it's been all about these different themes that are coming up, and it's a really nice way to help multiple people or have some supportive messages for multiple people as they're tuning in. Okay, so the masculine says what's important in the physical body is boundaries, making self-care a priority. So the masculine is on board with the feminine here within you, right? This doesn't have to be external of you, right? Your own positive and negative charge, your own yin and yang are on board with one another saying self-care. Now, this may mean that, especially like for some of you as getting new mothers and stuff like that, you need boundaries. You need to be able to say, I need an hour a day. Somebody needs to help me, being direct about that, making your point, right? And having good self-awareness around that. So the masculine is saying, uphold your boundaries. Make sure you do value that rest time. And then we got, this is so cute, lovable. Self-care, self-love, right? And we've got this little pup here in the guy. Looks like it might be from like one of those calendars, like a firefighter calendars with dogs. You know how they put those calendars. So we can laugh a little bit about it. We can have a little fun here, right? And we can say, okay, how do I love my body? How do I help my body feel lovable? And how do I do that from the inside out? Because maybe nobody's ever complimented me on that. Maybe I don't receive that external validation. So how do I do it from within? You're going to take actions of love toward yourself. The masculine is active. Taking actions of love towards yourself will produce that result external of you eventually. The feminine comes in here and she's saying, okay, we've got our boundaries. We've got that time where we're really going to love ourselves. I'm going to have some faith, okay? Because you got to have faith, the faith. That's coming to my mind, right? What does that mean to you, faith? To have faith in your body, to believe in the power that your body has to heal, that your body has wisdom, innate wisdom, putting your faith in yourself and your connection to the universe here. There is a single person here, right? Reaching up to the sky. This is your faith in your ability to heal yourself, to bring yourself through these layers, to bring yourself through the cycles. It might take, what might it take? The feminine's letting us know, okay, this might take a little tunnel vision here. In order for us to commit to this, we may have to passionately focus exclusively on our vision for ourselves physically. And it says building an empire. Wow, imagine building an entire empire in your body and having it function together in your best interest, right? So remember at the very beginning when I was getting distracted, I had like, the hair and I was like, oh, there's the hair. I got to pull it off, right? My hair's always everywhere. I find hairs everywhere. That's just how it is for women sometimes. But how do I bring it back into what's most important? Where can I move the needle where it will have the most impact? And so the feminine is saying, yeah, you can have faith. That's more carefree, that's more trusting, maybe a little bit more fun, but there is, tying it back to the initial card, the Queen of Cups, a more serious aspect here. And we're going to get serious and we're going to get committed on this because we are building an empire in our physical body. Right? And so when that empire is feeling like it's damaged or there are parts of the empire that need repair, we're going to be going into those energies. Okay. That is really awesome. Wow, really deep reading for the physical body there. I was feeling it. I was feeling it as well. Feeling it more potently since I've had some imbalance and some illness in my body going on. So I definitely can relate to that. Okay. Let me get a timestamp. Wow. Whew. Need deep breath. Sip of tea. And I'm going to say, don't forget, you can join in the chat here. There's also those emojis you can use over to the side, right? I saw those a couple times out of the corner of my eye. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go deeper into that. If you've recently joined, but you haven't liked the video, be sure to like. And we will get in here to the emotional body reading. So this is the emotional body, shifting from the physical into the emotional body. And we're going to go again with the overall energy from the Enchanted Dreams, the Tarot of Enchanted Dreams. I always want to say Enchanted Dreams Tarot, but it's the Tarot of Enchanted Dreams. Whew. Okay, overall energy for those who are resonating with the emotional body. The emotional body. Ooh, okay. The emotional body, for those of you who are resonating with that, the Fool comes up. I really feel this is very interesting. It feels like this Fool, they're on top of a compass, they're on top of a wheel, maybe things are turning. This really feels like energetic, emotional release to me. Okay, so an energy that arises within you that is released. This would be lightening your burden emotionally so that you're not carrying some sort of heavy emotions into your future state, your future actions, your future journeys. The Fool wants to start fresh. This is a fresh part of the journey. Look at the staircase here that is coming up from the bottom all the way up to where the Fool is launching off the top of the compass. The white wolf is there. We have dragonflies. Again, that was similar for the physical. So they're using dragonflies. The subconscious energies are here. We have a sword over to the side here. We have a wand. We have fire and air energies here. A full moon. Oh no, we don't have runes. We have astrological symbols. So we've got Scorpio, Aries, Virgo. We've got them all. I bet they're all in here. Taurus, Leo, Pisces. So they're all kind of spread out around. I don't think they're all there, but oh, well, there's some. Yep, they are. They're just very muted down here, but I see like Libra and the others down here. So all the astrological symbols are shown here. Representing a new cycle, a launching point where you want to launch free of some kind of emotions. Okay, so there's been some heavy emotions for some of you, and it's been quite a journey up this staircase here, and you're at a launching point. You're at a launching point and you're ready to go. And she's kind of dressed like a genie in a bottle, almost like getting released, like from the bottle. And then you can grant these wishes for yourself, right? It also has to do with moving in the direction of your true north, which you want to feel emotionally connected to those energies of your true north. Like, I want to be heading in the direction of my true north, my destiny, where I'm supposed to be going. And I don't want to be carrying the heaviness from the past. I want a lighter load. I want to feel more carefree. And I'll just say real quick here too, the Fool is the 0 card. And the power of 0 sometimes gets left behind. We get into numerology and we're like, what's a 5? What's a 4? What's an 8 mean? Zeros are very, very powerful. They represent the 0 point. They represent a fresh start, but they can also amplify all the other numbers if we add the 0 behind the 1, behind the 2. 1 becomes 10, right? 2 becomes 20, etc., right? And on and on. So the power of the 0 is very exponential. And so I'm feeling that emotionally exponential for some of you. You may feel like you have cleared out some heavy emotions as of late. But let's see. Let's get in some more messages here. Yeah, I think some of you have or are moving through the process of really letting go some specific emotions here. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to hold the energy of the Fool, which came up for our emotional bodies here. We're knowing that we want to lighten our load emotionally, right? Maybe some of us have been grieving. Grief is a very heavy, there's phases to it. There's different emotions involved, a very heavy package, right, to deal with. Grief, guilt, things that didn't work out in life. That's really coming through, like things that you wish would have worked out better with someone or in a certain situation. The 5 of Swords is coming up here. And we kind of have this one, it's one of these mice are having a birthday party. It's somebody's birthday, and this greedy mouse is jumping on top and ruining the cake. It's like, you have a birthday cake and your little brother, when you're little, goes in and just reaches his hand in and takes a big chunk out of your beautiful birthday cake. Or somebody's been greedy, or maybe you have felt like emotionally like someone took something from you. Someone took your innocence. Someone took advantage of your kindness, right? And so there's a sorrow here. These other little mice are like, but it's not, it's for everyone. We're celebrating. This is supposed to be a celebration. And this greedy mouse came in here or this, unhealed mouse came in and took the piece and ruined someone's birthday, right? Some of you may have had birthdays ruined, and there's an emotional wound there. Some of you may have been in toxic relationships during a time where you really needed to be emotionally supported, and somebody betrayed you, somebody let you down, somebody didn't show up for you. It's interesting, this is like showing a birthday party scene. So for some of you, it is very much like, if you think back to your birthdays, maybe you were lucky enough to have good birthdays, right? Maybe this represents family get-togethers or some other sort of celebration gone wrong, right? But it affected you down to your core. The icing coming down this cake is red. That's the root. Something that affected you to your core. All right, something was taken by someone who was greedy, someone who thought they had the right to take something from you. And this has left a deep emotional wound. That wound is working on being healed. Now, for many of you, emotionally speaking, if there has not been an uptick in the kind of relationships you have, there will be soon with this 3 of Cups. This is getting together. Now we're actually going to have the party. We're actually going to celebrate. And when we do so, we're going to heal what happened to us in the past, what we were a part of. This Three of Cups comes in and says, okay, guess what? I'm not going to be around these greedy vampires anymore. I'm only going to be in relation with people of like mind and like heart that truly will celebrate me, celebrate with me, I celebrate with them, a much more equal give and take. And with that, look at this cake too. It has the red icing coming down. I'm going to heal that root wound that I have, that wound of trust, of trusting in my community, of trusting in my culture, of trusting in my friend group. The Three of Cups is a beautiful card, Jen, isn't it? Yes, yes. Oh, I'm glad you guys are resonating. Good. Yeah, it's a beautiful card in like every deck because it really is a coming together. And it's through your determination to do so, right? It's through boundaries or the pain that you've gone through that you don't want to walk that path anymore. Remember, you're in the full energy, you're leaving behind. So some of you may be completing, there's a certain incident or something that happened, you may be coming full circle with your healing on that and able now to see, oh my goodness, I do have more like-minded, like-hearted people around me. I am tuning more into the energies of people who are going to be supportive, who are going to uplift me, and I will uplift them. And those are the circles that I want to be in. That's how you heal yourself, taking action in being around, tuning into. So even if you're not physically around, we're in winter, a lot of us can't come together in a community setting right now. But what are you tuning into? Are you tuning into people and messages that are, egoic and destructive, or are you really giving yourself the opportunity to hear the music through the cement? For some of you, this feels like it was cement, like something that really cemented you in for quite some time. But now you've followed your own tune, you've followed the music. They're playing, their little guitars are little seashells. So the emotional energies have been transformed. So some of you are coming to the end of that cycle, which is wonderful. That's good news because it won't, that heaviness that you've been carrying. And I am getting drawn to the shoulders area. Some of you may have had discomfort in the shoulder girdle here, like all the way around, behind and forward. So there may have been some pressure that some of you have been feeling there, of that just weight, something weighing on you. And there's more good news here with the Death card. The Death card, I think, is a brilliant card to come in here for you, emotionally speaking, because it says transformation through these emotional energies is inevitable. This is huge. This is huge. And this little death guy rides on top of the woolly mammoth. A powerful creature. So this is a powerfully transformative process. The mammoth is, all the little creatures are in there. There's some frogs in a boat. So those of you who look to creatures and spirit totems from the animal kingdom, we've got bunny rabbits, the woolly mammoth, frogs. I think we have a kitty cat. We have a kitty cat back here. I only see one cat. There could be another one behind it. But that could also be representative to some of you of like you've traveled this path alone. Sometimes there's been times you've traveled this alone. You've been alone with your emotions. You've not had somebody with you to guide you. You've had to pull yourself up out of these emotional energies at times. And I'm getting that sense of like, how a cat will Oh, this is cute. Okay, now so much is coming through. I just tuned into cat energy and I'm almost dizzy. There is so for some of you, this is your familiar, whether living or deceased. This is your familiar coming through, and but I'm also seeing like a cat that sees things. It's in the middle of the room, it's in the same room you're in, you know, you're the other people in the room are there, the dog's there, but the cat is seeing things. Okay? Now I'm really in this cat's energy, so I can't even look at the screen because this cat sees so much more about what's going on than the naked eye. Okay? This cat sees. Oof. Whew. Whew. I almost need to come back. I almost feel like whew, and I love working with the animals this way, but it's like sometimes when you really get into their energy, you have to kind of, oh my gosh, okay, I'm a two-legged, I'm back in my body now, but like they're powerful cat energy for some of you. Wow, I was not expecting that. I was going to talk more about the woolly mammoth, and I saw that little cat in the background, and everything just went. So some of you needed to hear that. Some of you have your loving cat familiars that are with you that are helping you process this emotional energy. And I almost wonder if the cat wasn't like able to see energetically the emotional waves. It was definitely like, and I know you know what I'm talking about if you have a cat. There's just times you look at them and you're like, what are they looking at? And they are intensely looking at something, but to everyone else, like nothing's there, right? And so that is a nice indicator of part of the transformation for some of you. The woolly mammoth here, a very powerful energy that's on your side here. And powerful and at the same time cute and warm, right? Now, it's really interesting that the woolly mammoth is extinct creature, at least on this planet, right? This point in time. In this 3D reality, because I feel like there may be creatures like this other places, and I feel that getting into that energy. So I think the extinction that I feel is the completion of the emotional cycle. It will become extinct to you, okay? And that's good because emotionally speaking, it's going to be like you can read about it in a history book and you're not getting triggered in the emotional body. Okay? You're not getting that zing, that zap, that hook that hooks you back into the betrayal and the way you felt and what was going on, right? That pulls you into that victim feel, right? This feels more like, okay, I could read about this story. I could read about my own story and not get hooked into it emotionally anymore. That's the level of transformation that's going on here, which I think is beautiful. I want to go into this Three of Cups energy because this just feels really good. It's about friendship. It's about community. I want to see, oh, a couple cards have fallen out here. Oh, wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. We've got the Eight of Swords. Now this is remember, we're clarifying the Three of Cups here. The Eight of Swords is kind of a self-imposed doubts. So for some of you, I really believe this represents that you held yourself back from for a while. I don't think you still are based on the other card I see here, but you held yourself back for a while because you had trouble trusting. You had trouble trusting people or that someone could hold space for you in a loving way. You had trouble with that. Now it was because of the initial trauma, but the Eight of Swords is self-imposed, meaning you might have got in a bit of a comfort zone with staying locked away and not trusting people and maybe keeping your heart closed a bit because there was a lot of mental energy. And it's interesting that each one of these readings kind of feeds into the next one because we're doing the mental body next. So these mental energies are kind of connecting in here and saying, okay, I held myself back from trusting, but now it's time for me to come forward and to communicate with people, to make friends, to take an action that will lead me one step closer to having yet another person or community in my life that supports me, that helps me continue to clear these energies just by the nature of their being, right? This is a determined. This King of Swords came up before in the body reading, but the determination I feel from this is a lot stronger this go around, and the emotional determination of like, I don't have to believe that everyone's going to hurt me. I don't have to believe that I'll be let down by everybody. I know without a shadow of a doubt, because I am the kind of person who will show up for someone else. I know that I can attract someone that's like me in that way, that will show up for me, that will hold space for me. And I'm determined to be in that energy, right? Okay, let's get into the journey to the divine masculine cards. Let's get 2 masculine, 2 feminine. So today I'm going to go over 2 hours. I'm just letting everybody know. So, in between, if you need to get something to eat, whatever, we're going to go a little bit longer than 2 hours because these are good, deep readings today. All right. What are the masculine energies around the emotional body? The highest and best messages we need to keep in mind and consider. Yeah. Ooh. And the feminine energies. The feminine energies to do with the emotional body that we most need to be reminded of. Okay. Got to blow my nose because I feel a little bit of this. The stuck energy seems to be in the masculine mostly, at least on the surface. Isn't that beautiful? When I have to blow my nose a little bit more. Okay. Bonjour, Derek. Hello. Cheers to the cups. Yes, we are doing the emotional body reading, and I'm tuning into the masculine energies. Overload here. Overworking, overthinking, right? So as the healing process, so the event that I talked about that emotionally impacted you happened. It took place. It happened. And you may have tried to bury yourself in work or other things, but with those emotional energies so heightened within yourself, it just was undoable, right? There was no more capacity for you, right? One of the things that those of you who have selected this reading for the emotional body are leaving behind is this overworking, overthinking, overload, especially when there's emotions that need attention and when there's wounding that needs attention. So you're not going to distract yourself or throw yourself into things anymore. We also got the ego. Why would we do that? Why would we throw ourselves into something when we've been hurt and we really need healing? Why would we throw ourselves into that? Well, the ego, to protect ourselves. Those emotions feel scary. They feel heavy. They feel insane to me. So I will do anything I can to avoid dealing with that. And so the masculine energies are showing the tendency when we are emotionally injured to protect ourselves through the ego. That's, again, we're all human. This is a human trait. Now, this is showing up on the masculine side. We've got a lot of Mars activity going on in the astrological stuff right now. I think it's going direct, right, into Cancer and Leo. Mars direct into Cancer and Leo. So for those of you men listening, this may have a lot to do with addressing putting a salve on some of these wounds that you have that have caused fear, anxiety, limiting patterns, getting stuck in limiting patterns, right? Happens to everyone. Maybe it has to do with the feminine. For some of you, there could be relationship issues coming in here. But the masculine would like us to remember how we escape into thought, escape emotions into thought, right? So that's something to be aware of. Now, the feminine is here with her abandonment wounds. So she's saying, hey, I'm wounded. And some of this happened when some of you were young. So there may be a wounding that happened at a younger year. And the feminine energies are saying, we might overgive. You know, the feminine can overgive and overload like the masculine. We might overgive to keep the masculine from leaving. We may have codependency tied up into these abandonment wounds. Ability to trust, that came up in the reading. Fears of being left, fears of not having this Three of Cups, this community to support us, this supportive energy from our community, right? The vulnerability here with the abandonment wound. Abandonment wounds are the real deal. Betrayal and abandonment, those are tough things. But we're going to come back to this and say, look, if you're listening to this reading and you've tuned in, you're at the 0 point now. You've come full circle. Remember, I said I feel like you could read about your story in a book and you wouldn't be, you'd still have empathy toward it, but you would not be triggered by it anymore. And then the feminine transformation comes in here. Absolutely, with the death card that we have huge transformation going on, upgrading one's ability to navigate the obstacles of life while maintaining inner peace. I love that. Upgrading one's ability to navigate through the obstacles of life while maintaining inner peace may have been something that you never thought you could do, but now this becomes possible because you're lightening the load. You've processed some of the heavier emotional energy so that you can move forward and balance out your inner peace as things happen, even during times of setback, right? Wow. Powerful reading on the emotional body. We'll be moving here into the mental body next. Oh my goodness. Grab some tea, take a quick bathroom break if you need to. Oh, let me just clear these decks a little bit here, and we'll get into these new energies for the mental body. All right, I got the timestamp here for our mental body. People who chose this. So we've done emotional. No, we've done physical. We've done emotional. Now we're doing mental. And then we'll get into ethereal body reading. So, all right, let's get the mental energies here. So we're using the Tarot of Enchanted Dreams again. If you're just tuning into this reading, I just recommend you give this a like, share, make sure you're subscribed. Join in the chat, whether live or on the replay. Would love to hear what you think, what's going on, if you can relate. All right, for the mental body, the overall energies are the Five of Pentacles here. Whew. So we went from talking about abandonment wounding in the emotional body energies. Now we're in the mental, and we've got the Five of Pentacles, which is abandonment, feeling left out, physically being kicked out. For some of you, this could have been kicked out of a living situation, even if this isn't happening right now, could have happened in the past. Something that brought a lot of conflict into your life, conflict possibly with family members for some of you. For some of you, it feels like turning 18 and getting the hell out, or moving out at an earlier age in your teenage years because home wasn't safe or wasn't a good place to be. There's an estrangement kind of feeling that I get to this energy for this reading, for the mental body. You could be carrying it that way, or it could be way more subtle, okay? So if it's not actually powerfully manifest in the physical, it could have affected you another way. Perhaps it may be having, parents that weren't very savvy in the business world or setting aside money for their children, creating any kind of generational security or wealth or anything like that. It could be that kind of energy that you've dealt with that's been painful for you. It's been hard for you to wrap your mind around that. Some of you may be considering that, your parents now, and you're considering, like, how do I protect these interests for my children now, for myself? How do I make sure we can live and have what we need? Shelter. This goes back to some of the basics: food, water, shelter, human contact. This is a card of being let down, kicked out, left out, abandoned, that kind of energy. So that's sitting in the mental energies, and we're going to acknowledge that. It feels uncomfortable to me. Feels like there's something there that shouldn't be there, right, in the mental energies. So let's get some tarot cards from the Kawaii Tarot and see if we can go a little deeper into what this is. I need another sip of tea. Yeah, everybody tunes in, it seems like, right when they need to. Sometimes you'll just pop on a video and you just need to hear a little snippet of something. And that's fine too. You trust your intuition in all of this. Okay. Very interesting that I've pulled no swords in the mental energies here. So the mental energies that you may be dealing with may not have first established themselves there, or that's not where you're focused. Okay. So when I think about the all is the mind. We live in the mental universe, creation that comes from the mind, right? The mind is sophisticated, the mind is sensitive, and whatever you're dealing with, there are tentacles or roots in the emotional body, possibly in the physical body for some of you. For some of you, this particular reading is connected to work and the kind of work that you do. That's big for a lot of you. Now I'm getting ready. This is on my list of things to share how I exited the corporate world. It was a journey. It took years, but I had a plan and I did it. Some of you might be planning to, or you're at the point where, like, there's structures in the reality field that you just will not participate in anymore because they're so unhealthy. They're so unhealthy, okay? Because I worked in a bank. I worked at a bank at the corporate level, all right? I worked at a scientific company as well. And the corporate structure and the hierarchy, ooh, yeah. So mental body group, what you're doing is you are giving yourself permission, first of all, before you do anything, okay? I'm not saying run out and quit your job and then go broke and, file bankruptcy, okay? We're going to breathe. We're going to reset ourselves. We're going to come into some peace within ourselves. And the first thing we're going to do is give ourselves permission to choose. We're going to give ourselves permission to choose our purpose. We're going to give ourselves permission to choose workspaces that are aligned so that if we are doing the 9 to 5 or even a contract job or something like that, that is in alignment with us. We're going to choose differently here. Seven of Cups is all about choice. And how are we going to know what to choose? It has to do with how we feel about it. The Cups energy. It has to do with the emotional energies, the ones that we just discussed in the last reading, right? How do we feel about certain things? And sure, as the octopus, we can squeeze ourselves into all kinds of different containers. But does it necessarily feel good? No. Could it get claustrophobic? Possibly. Maybe not for the octopus itself, but for us, putting ourselves, a square peg, a round hole, trying to fit it together, this is about allowing ourselves to say, okay, we're not taking an action yet, but we're allowing ourselves permission to choose something different than what we've been experiencing or what we've been conditioned to believe we should do. And we're looking at options. Maybe we're looking at options. Some of you have multiple options open to you that you're looking at. Multiple avenues that you can travel. You're in charge here. This is your life. You, no matter what has happened in the past, no matter how you've been let down, or the fears and anxiety that have been created in past experiences, you want to reignite your ability to choose because no one else is going to do it for you, right? We're going to be honest here, okay? Sure, there are people out there that get handouts or given opportunities and have certain entitlements, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not really sure that being in those energies all the time really does a lot for the growth of the soul. This is about you taking accountability and charge and giving yourself permission first. Let's give ourselves permission first to choose. Some of you are quite gifted and crafty and artistic. So we have a custom shoe shop being shown in the Eight of Pentacles here, the Eight of Coins, right? Very interesting that this mental reading is connected to how we focus our mental energies, but yet I'm feeling creativity. I'm feeling flow come into this reading. What's his name? Wrangler Star has his YouTube channel. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't tuned in since like a long time ago, like 2013, okay? Like when my kids were little. He interviewed a guy in Oregon or Washington somewhere that was like the last, pretty much one of the last custom shoemakers. He would make the shoes from scratch, custom for the foot of the person. We don't, who gets that? I mean, now they're doing 3D printing. Okay, I get it. But this was an art, it was a craft. And some of you want to focus on your craft. You want to focus on your art. You want to focus on creating. It's very interesting that this card comes up with shoes. It's about how we connect with the earth, the feet, how we feel grounded, how we set ourselves in here with the earth to take up space, right? To stand in our rightful position, right? In what we're meant to do. And so this is so cute. You got the little mouse, and he's got his little kitty cat helpers back here that have the yarn and the sewing machine. One of them might be causing a little bit of, playing a little too much. Somebody's goofing off on the job. But this is about you honoring your craft and having a little fun with it. We're going to have fun. We're going to take it seriously. Most of us, when we go to these work environments, especially in like a corporate type setting or an office type setting, everything's so serious. It's gray. They got the white noise blaring. You're lucky if you get by a window for some natural light. And even then, God knows what's in the windows to prevent you from, you're still getting all that artificial. Yeah. This is about the work environment, the work conditions, the pay, an honest exchange for your efforts, right? An honest exchange for your efforts. This is about creating a world mentally first where people can contribute and do what they love without the pressure, the exhaustion, the constant seriousness. Some of you are being encouraged if you are feeling kind of stuck in those situations. The word I get is stuck, like you feel stuck in the work situation you're in. You rely on that paycheck, right? You rely on that. To go and become an entrepreneur is scary AF, okay? And I know. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And it's also very freeing. So I want you to keep that in mind as well. You have a deeper calling. This moon is about being called from the depths of who you are into who you're meant to be, who you came here to be. Most of us, who we came here to be, gets completely muted, abandoned, disregarded, completely ignored, like, or we're not understood at a very young age. And so what has happened is that we go and do what everybody has told us to do or what's on offer instead of trusting in what is created from the inside out. So many of us, myself included, have lost our connection to our deeper purpose, and we've had to struggle and fight and, like claw our way back to, no, this is who I am. This is what I came here to do. And that music must rise up out of me. Maybe it's not seen yet. Some of you, you have these innate, dormant gifts, talents, and ability. They're in stasis. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to the rune I talked about at the beginning in the collective message. Isa, you're in stasis here. It's up to you to illuminate these, to bring them out of the darkness, right? And to celebrate them. Now, maybe you can't do that full time right now. Maybe there's a progression. Maybe there's some steps that have to happen with this 8 of Pentacles here. There have to be some things that are rearranged. There's different choices. Start making different choices. Maybe that's a part of it, but I would like to clarify this moon because this is about the rising up of your purpose, your innate purpose, what you came here to do. If you're still listening and you know what your purpose is, just drop a yes, I know my purpose, or drop what your purpose is. Have you ever defined it to yourself? Have you ever taken time to just sit down and be like, my gift to the world is, right? You may have more than one, and that's okay. You may have more than one that needs to be looked at, that needs to be figured out how they can work together. I'm a manifesting generator in human design. I have a very big mix of elements in my astrology, in my chart, and there are a lot of things that interest me. Tarot isn't the only thing that interests me, but I love it. But there are other things, and so I have to get honest with, like, okay, so what's my purpose with these things? How then can I bring it into reality? How can I bring it forward? And you're seeing one version of that with this channel, with Creators on the Crest. So sometimes it takes a little focus, especially those of you, yep, Jen, you're a manifesting generator. Yes, if you're a Manny Gen, sometimes it'd be hard to focus in on that. Okay. You got to sometimes you got to bring it and look at one thing at a time and give yourself the gift of focus, right? Or stillness in order to let these things rise up. Now, to clarify the moon, remember, this is about letting your purpose for being here rise. Now, even if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, my purpose, and you're thinking and you're like, oh, this is too general. Get as general or specific as you like. Just start identifying what it is, what you're good at. Like, I'm good at organizing. Okay, I'm good at, weaving, or I'm good at painting, or there's lots of ways that we can bring these creative expressions into the world now. We have tools at our disposal, but we're going to have to let that purpose rise and get in touch with the creativity. And then we're going to have to decide that we're going to commit to that, right? So there's the mental decision of committing to that. Excuse me. Okay. We've got the Four of Pentacles to clarify the moon. So this is a very realistic admission by some of you that, like, I'm barely getting by with what I got. My resources are minimal. I have to hold on to as much as I can. There is not enough yet for me to do all the things that I want to do. And that may be true. Some of you, like, you're looking at your bank account and the number is what the number is, right? There's nothing more to squeeze in that direction. So we have to focus somewhere else. We have to squeeze somewhere else. So you may only have limited resources to work with right now. That may be a part of your reality, but that does not mean that you can't give yourself permission to choose. That doesn't mean that you can't begin to see yourself as someone who has more resources, the power of the mind of being able to visualize yourself. And the other thing, hi, Sean. The other thing you're telling me here in this reading is that you're very passionate. Once you land on that purpose and you let that become the forefront of what you do, how you exist, how you're going to live in the world, your passion will come online with it. And this is the fire energy. This is the movement forward. This is the burst. Okay. So right now we're giving ourselves permission to choose, right? Always permission to choose. We're acknowledging that times might be a little tight, that it might be a little tough, but that if we spend some time letting our purpose bubble up, right? Letting it come to the surface. Now, I know some of you feel like, Jen, you're saying you feel like you get pulled in different directions. It can be easy to go one way and it's exciting. That's the Scorpio energy too. It wants to know everything. It wants to give me it all, So sometimes it does, it takes some focus. Sean's a fire, a Leo. We got Leo energy coming out here in the Knight of Wands. Absolutely. This is when your passion comes online because you've made the decision to give yourself permission to choose. You've figured out what your craft is, or you're working towards something and you're letting your purpose rise up and really support that and create a foundation. Very interesting. No swords came up in this reading for the mental body. That's what's interesting to me. That tells me that it's going to be more through your actions. When you give yourself permission to choose, then the next choice that comes up, be mentally aware of that. Be aware of that. Okay, maybe it's just choosing what to have for dinner, right? Try to give yourself these little choices, the little baby steps, until you get to the bigger ones, right? Sometimes it's a buildup. But let's take a look at the masculine and feminine energies connected to the mental body for this reading here. All right. Yeah. We're kind of upon this time right now where I do think the whole scheme of work, career, the financial world, everything is changing, everything is shifting. We're at this, what the masculine is reminding us is a crossroads. So for some of you, it's like, do I keep doing what I'm doing? Do I stay in these environments that just don't fit me? Or maybe I have to travel that road a little bit longer, but then that road is going to curve around and meet back up with my purpose over here, right? so that I can live that I can serve through my purpose and actually earn a living and be okay and be financially okay in that. So some of you, crossroads, you're at that crossroads. You're like, okay, I'm at this point in my life. I mean, I knew when I left the corporate world, I could no longer stay there. It was literally killing my soul to be there. Okay. Some people can do it. Some people live their whole lives like that. But let me tell you, when they're pushing that retirement, it ain't looking too, they're not looking too good most of the time. It does something to the soul when you're trying to force those energies in environments like that. Unless you're just a very, left brain individual who doesn't have many emotions and maybe doesn't tune into energies and just kind of like more robotic. And that's what they're doing. They're replacing these jobs anyway with robots, right? That's what they are. So the masculine would also like us to know that one way to shift these mental energies is through knowledge. So maybe you are pulled in different directions, but pick the one that sounds the best and maybe go study it. Trying to better understand the connection that you have with yourself, your work environment, by reading books, searching the internet. And it says watching tarot readings. You're already doing that. Check that off the list. I didn't know it said that. That's funny. Watching tarot readings, etc. That's funny. But maybe there's something you need to research, go a little deeper into. The masculine energies are calling you to do that. So while we're here, Northern Hemisphere, winter, we're in our stasis, we're in our stillness. Maybe it's time to read up on something that interests you. Or maybe if you're a creative, you need to start a new Pinterest, collection and start to get inspiration, right? Let's not lose inspiration here. Let's not lose that. Okay. Now, the feminine is coming up and saying, yes, quiet your mind, stay connected to your true self. There's that Isa, maybe because I said that, this card popped out, stillness. Look how busy the world is. Everything's buzzing by her. It's like she's on the streets of New York, right? Yet she's finding her stillness. When you're at a crossroads, it's a time to be still. It's a time to observe the inside world. It's a time to create with your mind the path forward. Your mind is the creator, right? This is a mental reading here. Create your path forward through the stillness. The distractions melt away. So when you're not busy learning something or listening to something, create a little bit of stillness for yourself. Whatever you are meant to do, your purpose, you are meant to do it in truth with your voice. So put a voice somehow to your purpose. Even if this is simply you talking to yourself in the mirror or just at home. Have you ever left yourself a little voice message on your phone? You can leave yourself little voice notes like, hey, this is the date. I'm feeling really interested in this. I'm going to go check out this book from the library, whatever. Give a voice to what you're going through here. This is about courage to explore this, courage to give yourself permission to do this, courage to work differently, to create, like we are literally creating different work environments, okay? A different way of even to the point where I don't know that we're going to keep working in the traditional sense of the word. This is going to be more of living the purpose than working. So this reading on the mental body really brought up a lot to do with career, work, our relationship. For some of you, it's relationship to finances as well. How you think about that or feel about that, resources, taking some exploration there. Right now, I'm learning to set up an LLC and I'm learning the aspects of business and legal stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's like stuff that my intuition's like, oh my gosh, I gotta grind kind of through this. But then there's that other part of me that's like, why didn't I learn this when I was young? Why didn't I learn, you know? It's really fascinating when you start learning how the systems that are on offer are operating. And at the same time, you're trying to create a new reality, right? It can be maddening sometimes. There are times where you all might feel, I know I do. I'm like, oh, you know, and we're in a big time of that shift, and it's not going to happen like overnight. This takes time and it takes presence in our physical body, in our emotional body, in our mental body. And we're gonna transition. So now's a good time for a little stretch, a little sip of tea, a little bathroom break. We're gonna transition in just a moment into the ethereal body. So whew, we're gonna get into the stars here with this, I think. Oh, a little tea. Might need to blow my nose. Take a moment, take a moment. Use the timestamps to skip through me blowing my nose if you're watching the replay. But yes, we are getting into the ethereal body now. Did you guys hear Blaze back there? He's barking at something. Okay. Tressa used to say her corporate job was eating her soul too. Yes. And a new hire in management made me physically ill whenever I was around him. Never knew what that was about, but I couldn't do it. Yeah. Sometimes we're just not in the energies where we can do it any longer. So yeah, thank you for sharing. I had that ick feeling around some people I worked with. Some people were great, don't get me wrong, but there were some and you're like forced to work with them. You have no choice but to be around them, you know? It's like, whew, man, speaking self-employment look really good. Okay, a little more clearing here. Mm. So gross. But better out than in. That's what I keep telling myself. It's all clearing. Something new is being birthed out of my throat, right? So, hey, we're going to roll with it. Now, let's do this reading on the ethereal body. Oh my goodness, I'm ready for this. So, this is going to be our energies of our spirit, how we are as a transcendent being, our multidimensional nature. And we're going to ask for the highest and best messages here that have to do with this. All right, so overall energy from the Tarot of Enchanted Dreams for the ethereal body. Ooh, this one's popping up. Of course, I love it. It's the 10 of Cups. It's the unicorns and rainbows feeling. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of a starry vibe here. Things are lightening up, right? So we have our physical body, our emotional, our mental body. You can feel it. We're having to operate with those, but there's always this element of something greater that is being expressed through us. And look how beautiful this energy is. The 10 of Cups is a feeling of feeling complete in yourself, feeling complete with your soul. Okay, this is your soul's work, and that you're bringing something very beautiful to the world, for yourself, for your loved ones, for your community, for your existence here. Yes, at times this is also like a wish card, a bit of a wish card. The 9 and the 10 of Cups kind of get into wishes being fulfilled. So it can feel a little airy fairy. If you're an air sign, you're probably like, oh, this is fine. I totally can imagine and daydream this. We got to give ourselves permission to work with that air element, to daydream, to go high into the sky and float and lighten things sometimes. Keep a lighter feeling about things. This is a feel good kind of energy, and it's bringing the beautiful light and dimension to a darker energy, a darker night, or a darker glum situation. I'm also feeling for the ethereal body. If you've tuned into this group or you're listening still, this is about This is about what we're actually in the process of doing here. So, if you've tuned in to Creators on the Crest, my channel, my work, my content, you 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, you're an older soul. You have wisdom. You have some ancient knowledge, some vast, multidimensional knowledge that you are bringing here. And this card is a confirmation that this is what we are creating through not only our hearts, but the heart of the universe. This is the heart of the universe being expressed, coming out of the cosmos and into reality. And how does it do that? It does that through us. Again, like I said earlier, we're fractals of the universe. Fractals are not a fraction of, fractals are the entirety of the universe expressed uniquely through our specific looks and energies and emotions and everything, right? We're the all, right? And we are finding our place here, and we're shifting things. So when it comes to purpose, like I talked about in the mental body reading that preceded this one, this is about that greater purpose. This is taking me more to the level of like your over soul, or the greater soul groups that you're a part of, where you have your individual purpose and your lessons and your things that you're learning in life. But then you have this deeper connection to something greater, right? And you're also a part of that. And it's much more of a soul level. And it feels really good. It feels good. Now, I know we're at the time, these are timeless readings, but I do want to mention Pisces energy and Pisces season is a really good time. So for those of you joining the live when this happens, right, we're entering into Pisces season. It's a beautiful time to embrace a little bit of this energy, right? It's a beautiful time to get into the spiritual a little bit more. Pisces is really good at bridging spirit and earth, the higher realms and the lower realms. It's a very mystic or shamanic way of existing. So I'm not saying you got to go out and tell everybody who doesn't get what I'm saying, because I know you're like, oh gosh, if I talked about this at the dinner table with my in-laws, this is, ain't going, that ain't gonna go very far, right? This is for you. This is for you. You don't have to announce this to the world. Maybe you have some people in your life that you can talk about these things with, the things that are beyond the veil. Maybe there's a podcast, and there's a podcast called Beyond the Veil. Somebody does a podcast called that. Super Woo Radio. One of my mentors used to do Super Woo. I don't know if he does Super Woo anymore. But some of that kind of stuff, right? Tuning into some of these more mystical things that are unexplained. And there's nothing wrong with that. Figuring out the things that are unexplained for you. Oh boy here. What's going on? Yep. Guess what? Some of you are quite gifted in this area. Okay, so here's our work card again. The 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Coins. Some of you are very gifted. Like, you may even have felt out of place in this world a lot of times. But honestly, this spiritual, ethereal, cosmic, mystic shoe, it actually fits. It fits for you. It's who you are. It's a part of who you are. So while I'm giving you permission to, obviously you don't have to just go reveal this to everybody, and, especially people who are going to detract from it and be negative, or say you can't be, think, or feel that way. You may want to also make sure you're making moves toward incorporating this beautiful energy into your life. So when you think of, some of you are working on your individual purpose, and that's beautiful. But what's the greater purpose here isn't it to bring love and harmony to future generations? Don't we want to reconnect with nature and live in harmony with this beautiful planet, this dynamic planet? Don't we want to learn to have greater respect? Aren't these things we want? And I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna here. I've been accused of being that before. I'm not being Pollyanna. I know there's a reality. And this Pentacles will tell us there's a reality we got to deal with here. We're not saying there's not, but we also believe in our power and the power of the universe and the power of where we've come from before, after, during, outside of time and space. So this ethereal body, that's where we explore these energies within ourselves, and we allow ourselves to go there. The daydreaming can be a beautiful way. Sometimes putting yourself in a deeply meditative state, or if you do like hypnosis, that can be really helpful for these energies to reveal things for you. It also, even if you cannot physically touch the soul group that you are connected with, that you came here, because yes, you're a part of a biological family. Yes, you're a part of a community. Yes, you live in a certain area of the planet, etc. But you also are a limitless soul, and there are other souls that are with you, maybe not physically, but that are with you, whether they're in another dimension, another realm, somewhere on the other side of the planet. They're there, and you have permission to connect into this energy. Now, the second card here we got is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands. So this speaks to, not only are some of you connecting in your work with these energies, but you're quite gifted at it. You have a vantage point here. We look at this little hamster, and he's on top of the gifts. These are presents, these little hat boxes wrapped in a bow. You are on top of it with your gifts. And your gifts are, some of you need to know that your gifts are doing a lot more than you see. So you may see, and you may be looking at certain things in the physical world. Okay, like I'm living my purpose. I'm, working as a spiritual mentor, counselor, whatever. I'm doing these things. And I'm judging my success through how many followers I have, or how much money's in my bank account, or things like that. Okay. And I know we get in this real world situations, and this is how things are graded or are, categorized. I get it. But what I'm feeling here is that the work you're doing expands beyond the physical world. And it's important for you to know that you have this connection, you have this vantage point. And it is part of your responsibility to help others see that. You're not going to, now look at this hamster. He's not reaching down, trying to pull these other wands up to where he's at. He's setting the example. He or she is setting the example here by being on top of, or being uplifted by their own gifts, your own gifts. So some of you are in this kind of work. Some of you are a little bit closeted with this, as I have been many times. So, and it is something to work through. It is something to work through, because you will not always be received well, and not everybody's going to like you. But also change and evolution and getting into understanding where we might be headed as a species, what kind of energies we might be transforming into, that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. So your job is to set the example. Your job is to stay on top of your gifts, talents, and abilities with this, and express them in whatever way you can right now, which is more of a leading by example than it is about trying to tell someone or convince someone, or, try to make them believe something that you can't prove, like with the basic, you know, touch, taste, senses, the sight. You can't prove it. You can't show them, a definite timeline or anything that's locked down, but it's there. You already know it's there and you're living proof that it's there. So there's a connection in here to these higher realms. Beautiful time right now for those of you watching live. For the next month, really allowing yourself to be in these energies. We've got the Hierophant here as our major arcana card that's coming up. This is about your spiritual authority. It's about you embracing your ethereal body. We've got more rainbows, shooting stars, clouds, all kinds of good stuff. We got little hand drums here. We got a hot air balloon. We have the keys, right? So this is really taking a moment to be present with the spiritual tools that you have and acknowledging the responsibility. The Hierophant is the number 5 card. Some of you may be life path number 5. I know I am. It's quite difficult because you will be around, and whether you're life path 5 or not, you will be around people and they will be uncomfortable because in your presence, they feel the energy of evolution and change and spiritual authority. We live in a world where, on the whole, on the majority, is led to believe that spiritual authority is something that lies outside of you. And you all know what I'm talking about without me saying it. Everybody has to go through their own journey with that, their own spiritual journey, right? But what's on offer, again, and I've talked a lot today about what's on offer versus what's being created and where evolution is taking us. Those are different things. Your spiritual power, your spiritual authority, your ethereal body is under your ownership. Therefore, it's your responsibility to exercise it very wisely, because we know there's a lot of people who try to get into these energies and do not exercise it with integrity or wisely, and we have to steer clear of them as well. Right? And then they leave a bad taste in people's mouth about it, and then people cycle back into the God matrix, right? And you all know what I'm talking. I think you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what I'm talking about in the God matrix, it's the constant belief that something outside of you is going to save you, influence you, has power over you, that you need to worship. Okay? The natural prime creator of the universe that I'm connected to and the energy I'm connected to does not require worship at all. So this is about getting really present with your own spiritual authority within yourself and how that's connected to the cosmos, to the universe, to others in your soul group, right? People who have these awarenesses but are often silenced through the millennia, have been silenced, right, by the predominating religious factors of the world. So everybody has their path. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people doing that. That's a part of evolution. I know for myself personally, and I know some of you are connected to a knowledge of other lifetimes that you've had. I've lived many lifetimes in the Roman Catholic Church, in these environments, okay, in these religious environments, being a priest, being a, bishop. I'm connected. I know those energies. And I've gotten to a point in my evolution where I'm laying down the cloth, so to speak. And I'm finding my spiritual authority within. And I'm unlocking with those keys, I'm unlocking the mysteries of not only myself, I'm acknowledging myself in that, but I'm acknowledging the greater mysteries and that there's something more going on here inside of us. Okay? Nobody but you, the individual yourself, you have the keys. My father was a minister. All right? So I know what it's like to grow up in that and to have to struggle and fight to reach your own inner guidance, to that voice within that's constantly crying for your attention, whose questions aren't getting answered by what's on offer, by what's set up here in our physical reality. And I've also had an experience, and I want to share because I think some of you will get this, and then we'll do a little clarification and move on. I was in a deep meditation state between like wake and sleep once. And my energy was all drawn outside of my body. My body moved off the planet. I could see the entire earth. And I saw what I knew to be represented by a big cross. The God matrix is what I call it. And all this energy was being siphoned off the planet into this black hole looking thing with like the cross as a symbol. All this energy was just pouring off the planet. That's the worship energy. I came to know later. I was like, what the hell was that? Okay, what did I just experience? What am I seeing there? And I later figured out through a lot more meditation and some counseling and stuff that is the worship energy. And so what happens is all that energy goes out there, okay? Instead of to the God, the creator within. Uh-oh. Now, what that is and where it's going and what energy that is feeding, I'm not sure. Could be another universe, could be another dimension. I'm not sure. I don't have those answers. I'm just sharing my personal experience. Maybe some of you have further answers or experiences about it that you can share sometime. You all, in my description, you have my email if you need to email me about your personal experience, you know. But I was like, that's why we have so many issues. All the energy is being siphoned and it's not available to the planet herself or the people that are walking on her, you know, that are on the planet. And so it just creates a real situation of lack and disconnection because of all that going up there. And then also what it encourages is that people won't take aligned action because they think that God or Jesus or, you know, something tells them that it will happen through someone else. It's through my priest, the confessionals, right? And everybody's entitled their own journey with this, you know? And that's what's coming up in this ethereal body. So some of you have been working with this in your lives in different ways, or maybe there's another lifetime. I do feel like that for some of you, you're aware of another lifetime where you've worked out some of these energies or you become aware of some of these energies. And so you're more in your spiritual authority now with this Hierophant. You're in your own, you're not resigning that authority to someone else. That's the easy way out. That's the easy path, right? Because then you never have to do anything except pray and worship. Oh, right? And I'm not saying there's not religion. There are religious people that do beautiful acts of service. So I am not saying that. I'm just saying it can lead to that. It can encourage that kind of energy for the evolution of the self. So I'm not saying churches don't do good things. They do. There's a lot of philanthropy that happens. There's a lot of good community resources that are put out by religious organizations. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'm not knocking that at all. And I'm acknowledging that. And the inner journey needs to be owned by each individual, the inner spiritual journey, because it's that direct connection with the God, the greater creator and the God within, right? That's where we're going to get somewhere. Okay. So some of you have gifts in this area. I want to look at the Seven of Wands because I talked about leading by example. So let's look at what are the energies around that, even if they're apprehensions. Okay, we got the Emperor here. Some of you are actually pretty confident about your spiritual gifts because you've proven them to yourself. and you've had validation from other people that you've worked with. So there's a confidence or a call to embody the confidence. Some of you, however, are also struggling to put it into some sort of structure. So, okay, I have this gift. I know it. It's been reinforced by a few people in my life. Even just a few is okay, or maybe more. Now, how do I put structure around this? How do I bring it into this reality so people who can hear the call or can see what I have to offer will receive it? And I do that in a way that has authority and confidence while not getting sucked into the whole guru thing and the whole, worship thing, right? So a lot of you're really trying to find that space. Might be a little bit easier for women with the feminine energies, or men, you might have to kind of get real comfortable with that, with kind of flowing in there. But this is also about responsibility. We need to have aligned action. We can't be taking actions that are out of alignment. We can't be repackaging what already is with the whole giving yourself up and just blindly or half blind following someone else. That's what leads to all these cults and stuff, because they'll play on those emotions, right? So there's a responsibility here that if you've tuned in to this reading that you're really working with, because you know what people think about some of this stuff, right? I know, isn't this interesting? We're giving ourselves permission in these readings to really explore here, okay? So even if you've tuned in and you're like, "Oh, you're wrong," and believe me, I've seen it. The comments sometimes pop up and about Jesus Christ, and it's fine. Guess what? I get to have whatever personal relationship with the Christ consciousness that I want to. Thank you. And so do you. And there should be no need to have to tell me that, right? There should be no need that you have to tell me I should do it a certain way, right? Thank you. Thanks, I'm good. Jesus and I are good, right? It's fascinating to think about this stuff. And a lot of us, we're conditioned from early in life that you got to think this way. And for some people, for some souls out there, this is a part of their path. I'm not going out there trying to recruit them. I'm not crusading for spiritual freedom. It's more of this, we've got to lead by example here. And I'm just doing it my way. You get to do it your way. You get to do this your way. And then we have the Seven of Cups. Again, this is about choices. And since I was talking about aligned action with the Emperor, right? This is about you always giving yourself, and this came up in one of the other readings, right? The permission to choose here, right? So this came up in the mental reading with the work, right? We're giving ourselves permission to choose how we explore our spiritual path, what parts of spirituality we go down, what we want to learn about. Some people, and I'm getting a big sense of this now, all of a sudden I just got a huge nature connection. Some people experience their spirituality and are most connected with their ethereal body when they work with the earth and have rituals that combine herbs, tinctures. The apothecary is coming up, that kind of energy, working with the earthen materials, okay, the natural materials. And those are going to be, and we don't even have to define that. That's what's fun, is we don't have to put a label on it. But traditionally speaking, these are the people, gypsies. People have been labeled gypsies, witches, right? The bruja, right? These are the labels that people want to put, pagan, right? Oh my goodness. We love to label things in this world, right? And this reading is encouraging that we have to come back from that. Why would it be wrong to have a connection with nature or the natural elements, or to do rituals that combine the elements and those kinds of things? Seems like it would be quite the opposite. Like it's supposed to be part of our experience, right? We're supposed to gather around a campfire and have song and dance together like our indigenous brothers and sisters do, right? We're supposed to crawl away in the sweat lodge to detox our bodies. We're supposed to look for the cures in nature for every illness or disease, right? We're supposed to be doing that, right? Naturally, because why? Because we have a sacred agreement with Mother Earth, with the planet herself. I see her as a living being. We have a sacred agreement to be with her, incarnate on her body right now. A lot of people are disconnected from that. A lot of people. So those of us who are connected more in with the natural elements, this time, the over winter time can be a little hard because we're like, ooh, I want to get back outside. I want to hug the trees, but it's like 3 below and I'm going to freeze, you know, like it's that kind of energy coming through. So it's coming though. Our warmth is coming. I promise. It's a coming. It's a cycle. Whew. All right. We waxed way existential and philosophical today in this one, but I thank you all for sticking in, those of you who are still here. Let's take a look at the masculine and feminine energies here. And we'll close up today. It's been a longer one today, but it felt right to do it this way. So, oh, this is beautiful. Okay. So the masculine energy. So if we have any wounding in the ethereal body, so remember I'm talking about like worrying about what people think of us, we're not worthy, right? And I just want to say when it gets into fundamental religion, this is a big thing. You're not worthy. You were born a sinner, right? That's this energy. So you must spend your whole life atoning for everything because you're lesser than, right? You're beneath. It's that hierarchy of things once more, right? But the greater being and your ethereal body, which is a part of that greater being, your spiritual body, your soul, is so much grander than that. How could it possibly be unworthy? It doesn't even make sense, logical sense. Let alone anything else. Now, the good news is the masculine is showing us that our comfort level, being in these energies, bringing the best of our gifts and how we're really connected in is beginning to open up here. So we have beginnings. But remember, the seed has to be planted, and then the ground has to be watered, and the conditions have to line up, right? And so this is going to take time. But we're upon a new beginning here. We're in the age of Aquarius, right? We've been kind of traveling in that for a little bit here. We're still at the beginning, and that's okay. We're at this part. We're here for a reason. We're meant to be here. If we want to, we can come back again, or we can journey in other realms and dimensions, right? We're going to give ourselves permission. We're going to give ourselves permission to choose. We're going to take up this Hierophant's advice and become our own inner authority. And that's mind, body, soul, spirit, etheric realm, mental body, emotional body, physical body, right? Taking back our power. Since this is the beginning, the feminine says, well, let's nurture this. Let's nurture this. How do we do that? We get in like-minded communities that are supportive. We support ourselves. We support others. We give ourselves plenty of self-care and nurturing. We nurture these energies in the way that we lead, right? We allow ourselves to make mistakes. We allow ourselves to fall down and get back up again and try something different. And then we get to this point as we nurture, we're working on embodying that love. This is more of the agape love. Okay, I think it's Michael Bernard Beckwith talks about this quite a bit. It's that love for the all. It's the love for everything. And that's the realm where the love is unconditional. it can be really difficult not to have conditions in our human experience, our personal relationships, our work relationships, things like that. Those are more apt to need conditions and boundaries and things like that. This is more of this general love for everything and all, for all of existence. Even for this opportunity to live in this body at this time, no matter how difficult and how challenging, because this is no limitations. I love the colors. I love the heart colors, the green and the pink on this card. I love her beautiful smile, right? When you're in this energy, take a moment, feel in, connect it back to your body, give your heart a little love. I love you, heart. I love your ability to lead with love and with these energies, right? When the mind can't wrap itself around these energies, the heart, the soul, the greater being already understands this. So it's about a presence. So we're working on bringing these ethereal body, these etheric energies into the world in our own unique way. So if you have a little homework, I do need to assign a little homework if you'd like. Okay, this is optional, but maybe begin working with this energy and understanding some of the greater things, concepts, knowings that you actually hold, that you actually have. You will know you're onto something when they make no sense. Like if you're like looking at what's going on around you and you say, I see no way that this would fit, that people could be receptive to this, that people would understand this. I see no evidence around me that anyone would get this, you know you're onto something. So maybe doing a little journaling, doing a little voice note for yourself on that. What comes out of that greater part of you, that part of you that is your spiritual authority, that is your etheric body? Okay. Wow. I'm going to take myself up on that homework too, as well. Whew, my goodness. Okay, we're going to decompress a little and close out for today. It's been amazing to do these readings with you. I'm surprised I got through this much time with my voice and everything. Thank you for bearing with me while I blew my nose and cleared my throat and drank my tea. It's just been an absolute pleasure. Some of you were here for the long haul. So, oh my goodness, like, happy Friday, happy whatever day when you're listening to this on the replay. I wish you all so much empowerment and inner authority and just beauty in your life, even in the places of stillness, even in the energies of stasis where it just may seem like things aren't moving. Remembering that there's that vibration and that there's so much for you to explore. I hope you all have an amazing day. I can't wait to see you next week. And oh, I will be on Sunday evening, this Sunday in 2 days. So that's the 23rd for the live Q&A on my channel, Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. So if you want to come on and ask a personal question and get a little mini read, be sure to join me there. So I'll be putting out info about that. And then since I'm getting better, I'm going to be able to do a whole new set of recordings. We got some good stuff coming up for you guys. I love you all. Take care.